All right, Ravens flock. That was a tough loss, wasn't it? That was definitely a tough loss. One of the worst losses we've suffered all season. Ironically, the two worst losses we've suffered this season have come at the hands of Cincinnati, who in both those games dropped 40-plus points. So this game today, we headed over to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals in a crucial AFC North matchup, battle for first place in the division, and the Bengals came out on top. Not only did they come out on top, they destroyed us. All right, that defense, or what's left of that defense, had no shot to stop these guys. T. Higgins went off, had multiple touchdowns. Tyler Boyd went off. Jamar Chase went off. We couldn't stop none of these guys, and Joe Burrow had himself a day. Joe Burrow, over 500 yards passing and 4 passing touchdowns. This was one of the toughest losses we faced in a long time. So it was rough to watch, but at the same time, a lot of people coming into this game didn't expect Baltimore to beat Cincinnati. Hell, a lot of Ravens fans coming into this game did not have a lot of high expectations of Josh Johnson pulling off a miracle. We were hopeful, but the expectations weren't high. So no one is really surprised to see the Ravens lose. We kind of hoped it'd be a little bit closer than a blowout, but yeah, they got blown out. It is what it is. But not a lot of us were really expecting the Ravens to win this game because, with Josh Johnson as your quarterback at this point, with barely that much practice time. He had maybe one day, and that was walkthroughs on Friday with the starters. That was a lot to ask for him to go out there and be able to do what he did. He still played well. It was really the defense not making a single stop. In fact, I don't think the defense forced any punts. No, the Ravens defense had zero forced punts. Cincinnati, every time they got the ball, they got into field goal range and either kicked the field goal or scored a touchdown. So yeah, it was a rough time. It was a rough time for the Ravens. But despite all of that, somehow the Ravens are still in this. And it gets even crazier. So the Ravens suffer a tough blowout loss against a divisional rival, and they fall to 8-7 on the season with 2 games left to go. I still believe the winner of this division will have 10 wins. It's battle to the 10 wins. It's a battle to the 10 wins, and honestly, there's only 2 people that are left. Since the other 2 have lost this week, they don't have an opportunity to get to 10 wins. The other 2 teams being Cleveland and now Pittsburgh. So it really comes down to Baltimore and Cincinnati. If Cincinnati can win their final 2 games, they easily take this. Meanwhile, Baltimore has to win their last 2 games and hope Cincinnati kind of loses out in order to take that spot. But we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, despite the fact that the Ravens are 8-7, the situation in the AFC continues to be crazy. 1, the Bills took down the Patriots and reclaimed first place in the AFC. 2, the Pittsburgh Steelers went to Kansas City and got destroyed. There were some Steelers fans that were maybe hoping that they can get another fourth quarter comeback the way it's been happening, but nah, it didn't happen. 3, and the most important one out of all 3 of these aspects, the Houston Texans upsetted the LA Chargers. I could not believe it. So, the Browns lost yesterday. Steelers lose today. Patriots lose. And then the Chargers lose. With all of this playing into the scenario, now that all of these losses have happened, Baltimore at 8-7 somehow finds themselves right back to the 7th seed in the AFC. Now, we will have to wait until tomorrow night to see if that holds, because the Miami Dolphins are taking on the New Orleans Saints. And if the Dolphins win that game, they will go to 8-7, and they will most likely take that spot because they have the tiebreaker against Baltimore. Since they beat Baltimore head-to-head on Thursday Night Football, the Dolphins would find themselves in the playoffs after everyone presumed they were dead. So a win tomorrow night for the Dolphins puts them at that 7th spot and drops Baltimore back out into the hunt. So for right now, Baltimore does have the 7th seed in the AFC, which is crazy. But if the Dolphins are not able to get the job done in terms of And no, if the Dolphins are able to get the job done in terms of beating the Saints, then they take that spot and Baltimore falls out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens at the end of Week 16. Monday Night Football is going to be crucial. If the Dolphins win, they take that 7th spot. If not, Baltimore holds on to the 7th spot with 2 games left to go in the season. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. I cannot believe we are actually in this type of scenario. Despite everything that's happened, Baltimore still has a chance to not only make the playoffs, but to potentially win the division. Next week, the Bengals are going to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. If the Cincinnati Bengals beat Kansas City, they will clinch the AFC North. A loss there gives Baltimore an opportunity. At this point, Baltimore, if they want to win the division, they have to win their final 2 games. Hell, depending on how the AFC is looking, they may have to win their final 2 games to make the playoffs. So it's all sorts of chaos right now. I just don't know, guys. I really don't know at this point. I couldn't definitively say, like, yeah, we got it. I couldn't say that. I couldn't definitively say that we're going to win. I couldn't say that we're going to lose either. I have no clue. At this point, we can either win the division, make the playoffs as a wild card spot, or we can just completely miss the postseason. It's one of the 3 at this point, And I honestly could not tell you which one because the AFC right now is so freaking tight, and this division is not over. I'm one to say that I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to beat Kansas City. And by the way, Kansas City is probably the team to beat come postseason time. They have reemerged and they look like their old selves again. So I think come postseason, whoever takes on Kansas City, good luck to you. You're just in trouble, man. I'm looking at Kansas City, man. I just think they're going to head back. The Chargers were an interesting team, but I don't know. The team I'm looking forward to seeing in the postseason, the Colts. The Colts are a team I'm looking forward to seeing because they are dangerous. Then again, you have to see how much do you trust Carson Wentz in the clutch. That will come into play. But the Colts look to be a dangerous team. The Titans, if they can get Derrick Henry back, can turn this whole thing around in the postseason. It's going to be crazy all around. I have no idea what's going to happen in the AFC, but right now, several teams are fighting for that playoff position. Those 3 playoff seeds. Several teams are fighting for it right now, and Baltimore is clinching to that 7th spot. Despite a 4-game losing streak we're on, somehow we're still technically in the playoffs as of right now. If Miami loses on Monday night, we will stay in that 7th spot heading into Week 17. That is insanity. Honestly, I just don't know what to think, man. I just don't know what to think. It's been crazy all around. It's been a complete journey just watching this Ravens team. And at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we expect to get a lot of players back this week, and we'll see what happens. We should definitely be getting Huntley back. That's guaranteed. But will we get Lamar back? I have no clue. So this week's going to be hectic. It's going to be crazy. This upcoming week's going to be hectic. It's going to be crazy. And we'll just see what happens, man. With that being said, Ravens currently at the 7th seed. It's crazy, and we'll see what happens during these final 2 weeks. That is all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace!